Hello, today I want to talk about, is the world illusionary? And where I wanted to start off is by, reminding us of the saying that the external world is all an illusion. It's not real, it's just a dream. Like, that's a saying, that's a philosophy that might be written in particular cultures, particular religions. I'm pretty sure that most of us have heard maybe of that concept before. And yes, there are elements of truth to that, and we also have to be careful with that mindset, because that can often lead to one becoming quite disengaged with the world. And so obviously that is just one section of what I'm discussing. But where I actually want to go with this is to remind you that your internal world is very real in a particular sense. Yes, there has an element of illusion to it. I understand that. But it is also sometimes more real than the external world. And it's often the place which may best serve us to connect to time and time again. The internal world. What is going on in our internal world? And yes, the external world may exist to a certain extent and may not exist to a certain extent. However, we do not usually perceive the external world in its natural form. It's usually through our individual perception. And a perfect example of this is, I'm holding this hockey puck. Don't ask me why. Actually, no, I'll explain. They're really good for hitting tuning forks. If you want to check out a tuning fork video, there's a series. I'll leave a link in the description box below. So anyway, so I'm seeing this hockey puck, and I'm seeing it as the color and the label which I associate as black. Now, if I was to show this to another animal, they might see the hockey puck as a different color, or they may not even see the hockey puck in the same shape, the same form, the same density in which I am perceiving it. And who knows, maybe another human might even see this hockey puck differently than what I am and what you are seeing. So again, this external world, what's internal, what external from us, that's a whole other topic. But for the purpose of this video, this is somewhat external to me. It's not something that was born with me. It's not physically attached to me all the time. It's not something that I can feel as part of me in this moment. And so me focusing on that is I'm focusing on an external environment, right? What's going on in the external world. And I'm perceiving it through my own individual perception. And whereas the internal world, it's what some may consider as much more subtle. And it's also often the place in which people find that they can connect to other worlds beyond worlds. Now, I'm not saying that you can't do that through your external environment. Some of us are very aware of when we, especially going into places like maybe forests or beaches, places of which maybe there's not a lot of human interaction or interference, we may find that it's easy to connect into other spaces that we may not usually. But here, for the purpose of this video, I'm talking about the worlds in which we can connect within ourselves and the subtleties of our internal environment, of our world. And so often when you connect with your internal world, you can obviously become more of the observer, right? And you can allow life to unfold in the external world, or from the external world, with maybe more of a sense of surrender. But obviously there's still a sense of responsibility of how you engage with that external world. I'm not denying that at all with what I'm sharing. But again, when you're focusing in the internal world, you're able to not only just connect with what's going on in the internal, but you can also connect and observe what's going on in the external, and you're less likely to be caught up in it. You're less likely to be whirlwinded in it and not pulled out of yourself. So yes, when focusing on the external world only, it can be more difficult to connect with the internal. However, with the other way around, connecting with the internal environment, you may find that you can do that and the external environment simultaneously. It's not a given, it's not a promise. I'm sure there's people that maybe don't have the ability to do that, and that's okay. But for majority of people, they may find that focusing on the internal environment, again, you can connect with both, but they're not drawn away by what the external environment is. And I guess that's the crux of why people say, like, oh, the world is illusionary, like, don't get too caught up in it, it's just a dream. And that, from what I perceive, is sort of saying, don't focus too much on it to the point where you're disregarding what's actually going on in your internal world. Because another element to this is that when you are more connected in with your internal world and what it is that you're obviously visioning and bringing forth and what you're here to do and your purpose and what's in integrity for yourself and your community, family, friends, etc., when you're doing this internal connecting on other practices, you may find that the external world actually may start to present itself to you differently. An example of that, to keep it really simple, I'm not promising anything here, and I'm not saying this is going to be the case in all situations, but say, I don't know, you get up in the morning and you stub your toe, and you're like, I don't know, and then, I don't know, you walk past the door and your clothes get caught on the door handle and all these little things start happening, and then you may find that you might get a little more, I don't know, emotions like frustration or anger or something might start presenting themselves, and then you're like noticing the way in which you're going, I don't know, driving to work, dropping their kids off. You might feel like you're in a different state. You might still be carrying those sort of emotions. And that could just keep perpetuating itself all throughout the day to the point where you're just like, oh my God, I should have never got out of bed. That sort of mindset, right? And not taking the moment to obviously process what was going on from there to there to there. And so the external world is almost like you're in a stressful state or you're in a state of frustration or whatever. And so it may keep presenting itself with more and more and more of those ingredients. You cook in a soup, and instead of just putting a pinch of chili, it's like more chili and more chili and more chili and more chili and more chili. And you're like, Whereas potentially, if you're able to, between each of those moments, connect and process, okay, what's going on? So why did I stub my toe? Okay, well, I was maybe moving too fast, or, whatever other reason. We don't even have to intellectualize it either. It could be just initially needing to process an emotion. It's done. You may find that you're less likely to be adding more chili in the pot throughout your day. It's actually like giving it some time to go, oh no, we're going to add some different spices to it. We're going to balance out these flavors. I trust that what I am sharing, you're going to be able to understand. We could talk about the whole law of attraction, la 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 la, or you get out, you get back, and all of that sort of stuff. It's kind of like that. That's very surface level introduction to it. There's a whole lot more to it, obviously. It can be. So, yeah. Let me know if you've got anything that you'd like to add in regards to this world is illusionary topic. You're more than welcome to leave that in the comment section down below. And I will see you in the next vlog.